Okay, hi there and welcome back to this tutorial on unwrapping the Pixar Renderman Teapot. You can skip this tutorial if you want to unwrap the teapot yourself. I'm just doing it here for the benefit of those who may have some difficulty unwrapping teapots. So let's just get right into it. It's a bit of a pain to have to do, and I'll be using Maya to do it in this instance. I've used various other tools in the past, including ZBrush and Unfold 3D and the wonderful Rich Diamonds 3D tools for unwrapping, again, which are really nice, and advise you to have a look at some of these alternatives if you're interested. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually isolate the objects which I want to unwrap. Before I do that, let's just sort out a little bit of a UV problem here. Not a UV, normals problem. Just notice because I've turned on backface culling, so I can actually see the feet are currently have their normals reversed. So let's just set that to be correct. Okay, just done that. It was just slightly annoying to me. So select the teapot elements and create a new layer. I'm going to call this layer Teapots. Okay, save that. Let's turn off the other layers. So we isolate the teapot to an extent. Select the two other lights which we have here, which are the environment light and the GI light, and just drop them back onto layer 2. Add selected objects. So we have our teapot isolated. Let's focus in on what we're working with. Now the reason why I want to actually unwrap the teapot is I want to put a nice Renderman logo on the side of the teapot here at some point in the future, well, in the next tutorial. So I would like to actually have some UVs to do it. Let's have a look at how we're going to actually work around this. Let's just isolate the lid to start with. Not necessarily something which we need to do, but it'll give us an idea of how we're working. So hiding the teapot main body itself. I'm going to get rid of some of the internal surfaces here, which I don't necessarily need. The render which I'm working with is only the outside, so I don't need the internal surfaces. I'm going to get rid of these by first of all selecting an edge in edge mode, control right click and move it to a face selection and delete those faces. Select a single face inside in this internal face and go to shell. Okay, so I've selected all of that, and that's quite quickly and cleanly removed all of the internal faces because I don't need them. They'll just take up UV space. Okay, the next thing which I want to do is let's just have a look at the object and see what its UVs currently look like. So in the UV editor, select the object. I need to dim the texture in the background so I can actually see what's looking. Okay, so there's UVs on them, but they're pretty screwed up. What I want to do is I want to have probably 4 sets of UVs here, one for the flat section here at the handle, one cylindrically around this section here of the handle, one for the large section of the lid, and another cylindrical section around the outside. Okay, let's see how this will work for us. To do this, I've obviously got to split up the UVs into different UV shells. Now, it is useful to us to actually be able to visualize this on our object. So if I go to polygons here, I'm at the top level, so it's object mode, custom polygon display, and I make sure I've got texture borders on, and I have the texture border width to something large like 4, and I apply and close. I can see where our current texture borders are. So yes, there's some texture borders there. They're not necessarily where I want them, but we'll just leave them there at the moment so we can see where things are working currently. Let's go to an edge. Here's my first edge, and I'm going to go edit UVs, and I'm going to cut UV edges. So I now have a UV border around this section here. I'm going to do similarly down here. I'm just going to use the G key, G for again in Maya, and again here, G. So I've run that command 3 times to cut places where I need it. Okay. Let's have a look and see what's going on now. In this flat section here, I'm going to select my UVs, my edges. So using control and click, or shift and click I should say, sorry, shift and click. selected these edges here, and I'm going to go edit UVs, so UV edges. Okay, selecting a UV here, we see we're selecting UVs, select that UV there, control right click and to UV shell. Okay, so it selected the shell that we have here, which is cool. Then we go to polygons, and I'm going to unfold those. You can see that works. We get a reasonably nice UV unfold there. There's a little bit of a kink here, but let's just go and do polygons unfold once more. Alright, let's next try here using tools and the smooth UV tool, which contains both the unfold and relax modifiers. So let's unfold it a little bit more like that, and we get a really nice unfold. Okay, sweet as they would say in New Zealand. And let's just move this whole shell over to one side here, away from what we're working with. Okay, the next section which I want to work with is I want to work with the top section here. So I want to weld up some of these UVs again. Let's go to edge, one edge, two edge, work our way across. Missed one there. Let's just select that there. Let's see how we're going. Should just be all those edges there. I think it is. Good to see. Okay, edit UVs, and I'm going to sew UV edges. Select a UV within this area here, so let's go to UVs, select one of them, control right click to UV shell, and let's just go to polygons, unfold. That's quite a decent UV unfold to have a look at to start with. Not bad at all. So we can move this up here. We can again run a little bit more of the smooth UV tool and unfold it a bit more, and we'll generally get a bit of a nicer result. Okay, this is more or less it for the lid. If we have a look at the UVs which we have here, these are the UVs in this section here, these are the UVs in this section here, so they're not too bad. I'm going to move these down here, move these down here. They came through okay from where they were previously, but yeah, you can change them if you wanted to. I don't particularly. I think they're okay. Dropping that in there and dropping this in here. Okay. That's good enough to work with for the lid at the moment. Not only will it mean we can put textures on it, it also means if we want to go and put some anisotropic shading on it, we can do that. So let's go display and unhide all, or show all I should say. I was working with 3D Studio Max yesterday, so my terminology gets confused sometimes. Object mode, make sure we're in object mode. Okay, and let's hide the lid. So let's Control and H to hide. I want to similarly get rid of the internal sections here to give myself more UV space. So that's not too difficult to do, as we saw previously. Let's go to Edge, select an edge internally here. Okay, Control and right click to faces and to faces, and let's delete those. And I want to do similarly the inside around here. Okay, so let's go to Edge, Control right click to faces, and delete. Okay, that's basically separated this whole internal section from it. So let's go to select a face and go to shell, and I can now delete that. Okay, so now I have the teapot itself reasonably clean, no internals. I've got to think about what way I want to map this, and I'm thinking I'm going to do it in, well, let's have a look. Okay, I want to have a flat section for the bottom, more or less cylindrical around the sides here, and I'm going to have to do the handle somewhat differently. In actual fact, the way I think I'll do this is I may do the whole body around here in two sections with kind of a planar mapping to it, with a seam here and a seam here along the teapot. It'll work for us. It'll work. Okay. So let's go to object mode again. Let's go to display and polygons, and down at the very bottom we get custom polygon display. I want to make sure I have my texture borders on and a decent texture border width so I can see it, and apply and close. So do we see any texture borders at the moment? No, we really don't. This is cool. Okay, so I'm going to actually select an edge, and I think this edge will do, so double click on it and I'll get the entire loop, edit UVs and cut UV edges. So we've cut a UV edge there, which is cool. That's what we want. Let's go to UV, select one of the UVs internally there within it. I want to select that UV. Yep. Control right click to UV shell. You can see currently the UV shell for that's pretty flattened out down here. Let's go to polygons and we're going to unfold, and yep, we get quite a nice unfold for that. But again, I still like to run the smooth UV tool on it. It does get us some better results at times. Let's unfold. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, we're probably going to have to resize these later. We'll see. I wouldn't put that much UV space in the base here because it's not something I'm going to see that much. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do here. Let's select our edges here. So that's selected all the way to this point of the spout, and control, and I'm going to click here. Oops. Okay, it's not letting me do a control click here, but let me just go and edit UVs, and I'm going to cut UV edges there. So I've cut those edges there. Okay, possibly doing them incrementally is a better way to go. Double clicking out here, and I don't want to continue past this point here. It won't make any harm, but let's just do it. Okay, create UVs and edit UVs, and let's cut the UV edges. So we've cut down here. It's not actually doing us any harm, but I will weld these up again. So just this edge here, I'll start selecting in here. Oops. Just keep select. Moving away along. Just like to be tidy. So let's go to edit UVs and let's sew UV edges. Now it's not working because I've only selected one set of edges, or it has actually appeared to work here, but let me just make sure we do this properly. Let's go move and sew UV edges, so it definitely gets both sides. Okay, not bad. So I've got a seam cut down through here. I want to cut a seam through the other side. Okay. That's looking sweet as. Let's just remove some of these again. So holding down Shift, take these out so I don't have to do it twice. Okay. Let's get in amongst the pigeons. Okay, that's all we want, and we're going to do edit UVs and cut UVs. So we've cut the teapot basically in half. Got a little bit of strangeness around here, which I'm going to fix up now. Quite common to select stray stuff, so let's just select that edge there, and that edge there. Let's just do it by crossing. and just deselect anything else. Okay, so it's using Control again, and Shift and Extract to deselect. Shift to deselect. Come on. Shortcut keys sometimes get lost in Maya. Okay, we'll leave it as it is for the moment. Let's just try and do the unwrap for this. It may work, I'm not altogether sure, but let's try doing an unwrap for one section. So let's go to a UV. Okay, select one UV, polygons, and let's unfold and see what that looks like. Oh, of course I should have gone to shell. Sorry, TUV shell. Let's go polygons and unfold. That's not giving me a result at all. Yes, I see the reason why. Let's just undo here. The reason why I'm not getting a decent result here is I need to have another loop around here. My bad. Mea culpa, I apologize. So there's a loop around there. Let's cut that. Edit UVs, cut UVs. Okay, so let's cut around there. Let's go to UV, select a UV. Let's go to shell, to UV shell that is. Okay, you can see that UV shell is selected. Let's try and do our unfold, polygons, unfold. Give it a second to have a think. Doesn't seem to, oops, there we go, it has done it. Select these, oops, let's go to UV. And let's go to shell here. Let's move these. Yeah, it's being slightly uncooperative. UVs. Let me go to shell. It's not letting me move them for the moment. Okay, we'll fix that in a second. Apologies for that. Sometimes Maya is just a little bit uncooperative with me. I will get it sorted. Let's go to UVs here in the 3D view. Control right click. Oops. Control right click to UV shell. And let's do an unwrap of that. So polygons, unfold. It will take a second. It's a bit of thinking for it to do. As we go. And there we have that unfold. Okay, so there's another split here, which I didn't actually intend to have. Let's just remove that split. Several other splits actually. Let's just go in here. So let's go to edge, select these. These have a strong influence on the way in which things are unwrapped. Anywhere you have a seam, it will try and unwrap slightly differently. Okay, so it makes the seams less stuck to where they would be in our mapping. Okay, let's select those. Okay, let's see, let's remove anything that doesn't need to be there. Okay, let's just go polygons and move and sew UV edges. Okay, things are slowing down a bit now, but that has actually, should remove that. Yep. Let's go to our UVs here. Control right click to shell, polygons, and unfold. Let's do this interactively using our tool, which is the Smooth UV tool. And let's see what we can get going on here now. unfold. Let's see how this is going. Okay, so it looks okay. Let's see where things are here. Okay, I think I'll get a better unfold here for both of these in actual fact if I separate out the joints here. So I'm going to separate out the handle. Let's just, I've got part of the handle separated out in one side but not the other, so let's just go and do that. Let's go to Edge and edit UVs and cut UVs. Okay, so let's cut those. Let's do it similarly down here. Edit UVs, cut UVs. Okay, so that should make things work a little bit more straightforward. Let's just try selecting a UV here. Control right click to UV shell, polygons, unfold. Okay, we're going to get a nicer, cleaner unwrap here. Let's just go to UV, shell, and Q. Okay, so let's. I've actually lost my shortcut keys again in Maya. This is something which I'm finding is a habit, or not a habit, a problem with me recently. Control right click to shell. Let's move these. Move them away and down here. Okay, so I'm having to use some of the actual commands. Let's go to here and let's go to UV. Control right click to shell. Let's unfold these polygons. Unfold. Okay. Let's rotate this round. And let's scale it up. Okay. Start putting these things into place. Let's move these stray islands, stray UV islands moving over somewhere else, just for the moment. Move them out of the way. Let's get our lid into a corner. What's going to be most useful. Let's select this section, move it up here, let's scale it, move it. My shortcuts are working again now, which is good. To shell, put this down here and scale it. I'm going to do another unwrap on this, or using the tool. So smooth UV tool. Let's just try unfolding it a little bit more, and unfold it more. Okay. Maybe relax it slightly. No. Okay, I can probably live with this as it stands. Let me just move this UVs to shell. Down slightly here. Okay, I'm not going to spend much more time unwrapping this because, yeah, nobody really likes unwrapping stuff. To shell, and I'll scale this. Just move these in here, and these random pieces here I'll just move over here for the moment. Let's see how they're going. What we have in actual fact is we have this section here, which I should be able to unwrap fully. So select all of these and go polygons, unfold. Let's scale them up. I've lost my shortcuts aren't working. And let's see, the other side is slightly fragmented. Yeah, we'll live with it. We'll live with it. We've got some UVs here. Okay, so this is basically how we'll do it. I would tidy it up a bit more, but I'm just aware of the time now, and it's been about... Yep, this is the end of this tutorial now. I have sufficient space here in my UV space for what I want, and I may well tidy up some of the other little bits just off camera, but you see what's going on. Okay, so thanks for this. If you've enjoyed it, UV unwrapping is never anybody's favorite thing to do, but there we go, we have UVs on the subject now sufficient to put the Renderman logo.